Hey everyone, and welcome back. We got a listener request to do a deep dive into the gut microbiome.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so they're really curious about, the gut microbiome and its connection to your immune system,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to fending off infections.
Okay.
So we've lined up some really fascinating research for today.
Great.
We have some excerpts from an article called The Gut Immune Connection, and this is from Biotics Research.
Okay.
And we also have excerpts from a scientific paper, and this one is straight from the journal Nutrients.
Wow.
It's called The Interplay Between the Gut Microbiome and the Immune System in the Context of Infectious Diseases Throughout Life, and the Role of Nutrition in Optimizing Treatment Strategies.
That's quite a title.
Yeah, it is, but it looks like it's going to answer a lot of our questions about this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to be discovering some really surprising things today.
Can't wait.
Like, how much influence does your gut really have on your immune system?
Hmm.
And not just in your digestive tract, we're talking about, throughout your whole body.
Oh, wow. And is there really such a thing as bad bacteria?
Right.
Plus, how does this all change, as we go through life
Mhm.
from babies to adults to those golden years?
Right.
So, to help us navigate this microscopic world, we've got the amazing expert speaker here with us.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. So before we get too deep into the nitty-gritty science stuff,
Sure.
let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly are we talking about when we say gut microbiome?
Right.
Why should we even care about this community of, these tiny organisms living inside us?
Well, it's easy to forget that they're even there, but the gut microbiome is this bustling world of bacteria and fungi and viruses,
Wow.
all coexisting within our digestive system.
It's like a whole little world.
It is. Think of it like a miniature ecosystem, constantly adapting and changing based on, various factors.
So it's not just like a bunch of random microbes just hanging out in there.
No.
There's an actual structure and function to it.
Exactly. And what makes it even more fascinating is how dynamic it is.
The composition of your gut microbiome is constantly influenced by things like your genes, your age, what you eat,
Oh, wow.
how stressed you are, even if you've taken antibiotics recently.
So many things.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Both the article and the study really emphasized how this isn't a static thing.
Right?
It's constantly in flux.
Yeah.
So how does this ever-changing community actually impact our immunity?
Well, you can think of your gut as having its own security system. It's like the first line of defense against anything harmful you might ingest.
Like a gatekeeper.
Exactly.
Okay, so walk me through these defenses. How does this actually work?
Okay, so locally, in the gut itself, there are three main layers of protection.
Okay.
First, you have the microbiota itself,
Uh-huh.
the good bacteria crowding out the bad.
Okay.
Then there's the epithelial barrier,
Yeah,
which acts like a physical wall lining your gut.
gotcha.
And lastly, the mucosal immune system,
Okay.
which is embedded in that lining and ready to fight off any invaders.
So it's like a fortress. Yeah.
It has walls and guards and friendly bacteria all working together.
That's a great analogy.
I like it.
This concept of the good bacteria crowding out the bad is called colonization resistance.
Colonization resistant.
Yes. Okay. Imagine your gut is like a packed parking lot.
Okay.
If all the spaces are taken up by the good bacteria, then harmful bacteria have nowhere to park,
Oh,
and they can't cause as much trouble.
that's a really good way to visualize that.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it makes the idea of good bacteria so much more tangible.
It does. But this protection isn't just happening in our gut, right?
Right.
The nutrients paper mentioned how the gut influences the immune system throughout the entire body.
That's right. And that's what makes this connection so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
The signals from your gut can actually impact immune cells all over your body.
Wow.
For example, gut microbes play a role in how T cells, which are crucial for immune response,
Right.
differentiate and specialize.
Think of T cells like, different branches of your immune system's army,
Okay.
each trained for very specific battles.
Gotcha. So what are some examples of these different branches?
Well, you have T helper cells like Th1, Th2, and Th17,
Mm-hmm.
each specializing in combating, different types of threats.
Okay.
And then you have regulatory T cells,
Mm-hmm.
which are kind of like the peacekeepers of the immune system,
Oh,
making sure things don't get out of hand.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And then there's those SCFAs
Yes.
that the nutrients paper kept mentioning.
Yeah.
What are they exactly, and why should we care about them?
SCFAs, or short-chain fatty acids,
Okay.
are produced by the good bacteria in your gut when they ferment fiber.
Okay.
And they act as signaling molecules throughout the body, sort of like chemical messengers,
Okay.
impacting everything from the health of your intestinal cells to the immune response in places like your lungs.
Wow.
This is often called the gut-lung axis.
The gut-lung axis. Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, by eating more fiber, I'm essentially boosting my body's natural defenses against infections.
Exactly, and it highlights how interconnected different systems in our body really are.
It really does. It makes you think twice about what you're putting into your body.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned good bacteria and bad bacteria earlier,
Right.
but the Biotics Research article brought up an interesting point about how even something like Candida,
Yes.
which people often view as harmful,
Right.
can be beneficial in normal amounts.
Right.
So does this mean there really is no such thing as bad bacteria?
That's a great question. And it's not so much about good versus evil, but rather balance.
Okay.
Even bacteria that we traditionally think of as bad can play a role in a healthy gut ecosystem.
Okay.
It's all about maintaining that delicate equilibrium within.
So it's more about keeping things in check
Exactly.
rather than trying to eliminate certain types of bacteria altogether. But wouldn't a diverse gut microbiome mean that there are also more potentially harmful bacteria present?
It's true that a more diverse microbiome could mean more types of bacteria are present,
Right.
but diversity is actually beneficial.
Okay.
It's like having a diverse rainforest ecosystem.
Right.
It's more resilient and stable than a monoculture.
Gotcha.
The problems arise when the balance is disrupted.
Yeah.
For example, a diet high in ultra-processed foods
Uh,
can tilt the scales in favor of bacteria that promote inflammation,
mm-hmm.
which is linked to various health issues.
That makes sense. So how did this balance play out over the course of our lives?
Right.
We start as babies with developing immune systems,
Yeah.
and then age and experience all sorts of changes in our bodies.
That's an important point to consider. The gut microbiome and its relationship with the immune system is a lifelong journey.
Right.
Let's start with newborns.
Okay.
Their immune systems are still developing, relying heavily on antibodies passed from their mothers,
Yeah.
through the placenta and breast milk. At the same time, their gut microbiome is just starting to form.
So they're really vulnerable at that point.
They are. It's a very dynamic period.
And the Biotics Research article had this fascinating finding about the immune system being active earlier than we previously thought,
Oh, really?
even before organs are fully developed.
Wow.
Those intestinal epithelial cells,
Yeah.
the ones lining the gut, are busy from the very beginning.
That's incredible.
It is wild. As we age, though, things change again.
Absolutely.
Right, the nutrients article talked about immunosenescence,
Yes.
which is the natural decline of the immune system as we get older.
Exactly. And the gut microbiome plays a role here, too.
Interesting.
As we age, our gut microbiome tends to become less diverse
Oh.
and can experience an increase in certain types of bacteria that might exacerbate inflammation,
Okay.
which further impacts the aging immune system.
So even though this decline in immune function is a natural part of getting older,
Yes.
what's happening in our gut can either make it worse or potentially help mitigate those effects.
Absolutely. This is why understanding the connection between the gut and the immune system becomes even more crucial as we age.
Wow, this is all so fascinating. We've covered a lot of ground already, from that bustling world inside our gut to its intricate dance with the immune system throughout our lives.
Quite a journey.
It is. We'll be back in part 2 to explore just how this knowledge is being used in the real world to treat and prevent infections, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Last time, we really explored what the gut microbiome is, how it works with our immune system both locally and throughout the body,
Right.
and how that relationship changes over a lifetime.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
It is. So now let's dive into how this knowledge is actually being used
Okay.
in the real world
Yeah.
to treat and prevent infections.
Right.
The nutrients article mentioned a big shift happening in how we think about infectious diseases.
Yeah.
It's not just about, fighting those individual bugs anymore.
Right. For a long time, antibiotics have been our main weapon against infections. But as we talked about, they can also disrupt the gut microbiome,
Yeah.
sometimes with unintended consequences.
The classic example is C. difficile infection, right?
Yeah.
The paper explained how antibiotics can actually create the perfect environment
Right.
for this nasty pathogen to thrive.
Yeah, that's a perfect illustration of how a damaged gut microbiome can leave you vulnerable to infections.
Oh, wow.
And it's not just limited to C. difficile.
Right.
The article also mentioned viruses like rotavirus, norovirus, and even poliovirus, which can exploit changes in the gut microbiome
Wow.
to gain a foothold.
So it's like the antibiotics clear out all the good guys,
Yeah.
and then it leaves the field wide open for the bad guys to move in.
Exactly.
That's a pretty unsettling thought.
It is. It definitely highlights the need for more nuanced approaches
Right.
to treating infections.
Okay.
And this is where understanding the gut microbiome becomes so important.
So the nutrients article talked about some exciting new therapies.
Yes.
Like fecal microbiota transplants, which aim to actually restore a healthy gut ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a very promising avenue. Fecal transplants have had remarkable success in treating recurring C. difficile infections.
Right.
And research is expanding into other areas as well.
It's wild. It's like hitting the reset button
It is.
on your gut bacteria.
Yeah.
But this isn't just about treating existing infections, right? There's also potential for preventing them in the first place.
Exactly. Both sources emphasize the role of nutrition in shaping the gut microbiome and influencing our immune response.
And of course, we have to mention fiber again.
Always.
It's not just good for digestion, it's fuel for the beneficial bacteria in our gut.
Absolutely. Fiber gets broken down by those good bacteria,
Yeah.
producing those SCFAs we talked about earlier.
Okay. I need like a quick refresher.
Sure.
On SCFAs, why are they so important for our health?
We'll think of SCFAs, or short-chain fatty acids, as the gut microbiome's communication system. They have this wide range of effects throughout the body, supporting everything from intestinal cell health to immune cell function.
So by eating fiber, we're essentially supporting a strong communication network between our gut and our immune system,
That's a great way to put it.
helping our bodies fight off infection more effectively.
Exactly. And research shows that specific types of fiber, called prebiotics,
Right.
can even selectively promote the growth of certain beneficial bacteria.
The nutrients paper mentions some examples like HMOs and inulin.
Yeah.
And galacto-oligosaccharides.
Well, those are a mouthful.
I know, I'm like, those names are a bit of a mouthful.
They are. The takeaway is that different prebiotics target different bacteria.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Which makes sense since everybody's gut microbiome is totally unique.
Exactly. That's where the concept of personalized nutrition gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Tailoring dietary recommendations to an individual's gut microbiome and immune profile.
That sounds like the future of healthcare.
It really does.
Imagine getting a diet plan specifically designed to optimize the balance of bacteria in your gut.
Right.
But until then,
Yeah.
what can we do to support gut health in the meantime?
I think increasing our intake of fiber-rich foods is a great place to start.
So load up on those fruits, veggies, whole grains, and legumes.
Exactly.
I love it. And this is just the beginning of our journey
It is.
into the world of gut bacteria and immunity.
Right.
In part 3, we'll delve even deeper into what this research means for your health and what you can do to take care of your own internal ecosystem. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to our final deep dive.
Yes, the final part.
Into this fascinating world of gut bacteria and immunity.
It really is a fascinating world.
It is. So we've explored this, an incredible ecosystem within our guts.
Right.
The complex dance between our microbiome and immune system.
Yeah.
And how scientists are already applying this knowledge in real-world settings.
Absolutely.
So now for the most important question, what does it all mean for you?
How can we actually use this information to take charge of our own health?
Well, the big takeaway, I think, is that your gut microbiome is this powerful ally,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to immunity.
Okay.
And you have the power to actually influence its composition and function.
So it's not all predetermined by our genes.
Right.
We can actually shape this, internal world.
Absolutely. Both sources highlighted how lifestyle choices, what we eat, how we manage stress, even our exposure to antibiotics, can significantly impact our gut health.
So it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
A healthy gut leads to a stronger immune system, which paves the way for, better overall health.
Precisely. And research is constantly evolving in this area.
Right.
The nutrients article even hinted at the possibility of, personalized nutrition in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine receiving dietary recommendations tailored to your unique gut microbiome
Wow.
and immune profile.
That would be like a diet plan
It would.
designed to optimize the balance of bacteria in your gut. But while we wait for that to become a reality, what are some practical steps that listeners can take right now to support their gut health?
Well, we've touched on the importance of fiber,
Yeah.
but it's worth emphasizing again.
Right.
Think of fiber as the fertilizer for the good bacteria in your gut.
So how can we easily increase our fiber intake? Any tips or tricks?
Aim for variety in your diet. Include a mix of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get creative in the kitchen. Try different kinds of beans. Experiment with ancient grains like quinoa or faro snack on nuts and seeds.
Right. What about fermented foods?
Yes.
Like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi.
All good choices.
I've heard those are good for gut health, too.
You're absolutely right. They contain live bacteria
Yeah.
that can contribute to a diverse gut microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure to choose varieties that are low in added sugars.
Good point. So we've covered diet, but what about other lifestyle factors?
Right.
The Biotics Research article mentions stress management.
Yes, chronic stress can negatively impact the gut microbiome,
Okay.
leading to imbalances that weaken the immune system.
Right.
It's important to find healthy ways to manage stress,
Yeah.
whether it's through exercise, yoga meditation, spending time in nature,
Yeah.
or simply engaging in hobbies that bring you joy.
Stress relief is definitely important
It is.
for overall well-being.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about the impact of antibiotics,
Right.
even though they're essential in many cases.
Absolutely. While antibiotics are life-saving medications,
Mm.
it's crucial to use them only when necessary.
Right.
And as directed by your doctor.
Okay.
Overuse can disrupt that delicate balance of the gut microbiome.
So if someone does need to take antibiotics, what can they do to
Yeah.
protect their gut health during and after treatment?
It's a good idea to talk to your doctor about ways to support your gut health.
Okay.
They might recommend a probiotic supplement or dietary changes to help restore the balance of bacteria.
That's great advice. It seems like we're learning more and more
We are.
about the intricate workings of our bodies every day.
It's amazing.
It's both fascinating and empowering.
It truly is. And by understanding this vital connection between the gut and the immune system, we can make informed choices to support our health and build resilience against infections.
Absolutely. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive exploring that bustling world within us and its powerful influence on our health. We hope this journey has been as eye-opening for you as it has been for us.
I agree. It's been a great journey.
It really has. Thank you so much to expert speaker for joining us today
It was my pleasure.
and for sharing your expertise with us.
Of course.
To all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this fascinating deep dive. And until next time, be well.